What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So a new USA Today Suffolk poll showed that President Biden's approval rating is at 38%. Now, I've been talking a little bit about the approval rating, and I've been talking about the different polls. And this is very important when it comes to legislation because this will move politicians in certain ways. And we just saw what happened in the Virginia governor's race, and the Democrats lost. And so that's a big message that's been sent by the people. So we've been looking at this first infrastructure bill, a second infrastructure bill. They finally passed that first infrastructure bill. Now the focus is on that second infrastructure bill, that human infrastructure. And because of this, these poll numbers and the fact that President Biden's approval rating continues to drop, that is going to have a major impact on what they're going to put in this second infrastructure bill. Now, I know it's pretty much drafted. They have everything there. They have the framework, but they're still adding things as we speak. So in this video, I want to talk about the poll numbers and why they matter when it comes to this legislation and future legislation. But first off, on this channel, we talk about news that matters. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so when we're looking at these poll numbers, they matter. They really do. And when we're looking at a situation where President Biden's approval rating's at 38%, something needs to change. We have midterms coming next year, and that's going to be a big deal because a lot of these politicians, these same politicians that are pushing, they were pushing for that first infrastructure bill. They're now pushing for this human infrastructure bill, the Build Back Better plan. And these same politicians that are pushing for this second infrastructure bill, they're going to start to realize, look, we're going to need to do something with the second infrastructure bill, because if we don't, and we keep dragging this along, we might not be there in a year when we run for re-election. And so let's talk a little bit about some of the things that are on the table. And I've spoken about this. I just did a video about Social Security reform. That is on the table for next year. And so even going past this second infrastructure bill, which for the most part, because they have a framework, we're looking at a situation where they might add a few things to it, but we're not going to see some of these big ticket items because they're going to have to do a separate bill for that. And so looking at Social Security reform, something that has to happen. And will they be taking that up next year? I think they will. That's my prediction, that they'll be taking up Social Security reform and trying to move forward with that. They'll also be taking up Medicare expansion. I think that they missed the ball here when it comes to that second infrastructure bill because they weren't able to add all the Medicare expansion that they wanted. So they're missing dental, they're missing vision. Hopefully they'll be able to add that. Prescription drug costs, that's something else. They're trying to target that in the second infrastructure bill, but I think in the future, in 2022, they're going to take this up again. So we'll have to see how that works when it comes to prescription drugs. SSI reform, this is something else. We've heard about Social Security reform. They're talking about reforming SSI, bringing it to 100% of the poverty level. So that's something else that we'll be focused on. So I think next year, they do that reconciliation bill next year because they can do one this year. They can also do another one next year. I think we could seriously see something happen when it comes to SSI. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the child tax credit. Now, the child tax credit, the talk is they want to extend this for 1 year. That's in the current reconciliation bill. But they will be doing another reconciliation bill next year, most likely. And if they do that, then they're going to talk about extending it even another year. So extending it into 2023. So we can anticipate seeing that. Being that it's an election year again, this is one of those times where they're going to try to pull out everything in order to win these midterm elections. And because they lost that Virginia governor's race, and because Republicans are now feeling very, very empowered when it comes to the midterms, you're going to see Democrats really starting to go back to some of the things that they talked about before. When we talk about the raise for Social Security, that's something else that was very, very popular. They stopped talking about that. That might be something else that might be revisited because they need to gain support with the American people. And one of the ways that they can do this is by touting what they can do for the American people. And so you're going to see a lot of talk about this. We haven't really heard too much when it comes to Republicans and what they want, what their agenda is when it comes to the midterms and what they want to provide for the American people. And so we're going to have to stay tuned and listen for that. But at this point, they're just kind of laying back. The Republicans are not saying too much when it comes to this stuff. So when we're looking at everything as a whole, this is what's going on. We have the polls out. Polls are showing negative numbers for President Biden, and because of that, I think we're looking at a situation where that means that the American people will get more because the numbers are showing that they're not approving of what President Biden's doing. So he's going to have to shift gears and change his agenda. So we'll have to just stay tuned to see where that goes. Make sure you subscribe, hit that little bell notification, because we're still waiting on that second infrastructure bill. We're still waiting on that vote. Hopefully we'll be seeing that in the coming weeks. So make sure you stay tuned. So that's all I have for you guys today. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.